that a Stream Deck that you're poking right now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I think we're live. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks everyone for being here. Alex, thank you so much for being someone who's way smarter than me and able
This is me
to
waving at everybody.
thinking through a lot of stuff that I just don't know yet. So I'm really excited to learn from you, and I hope that yeah, I hope everyone is both here in Discord and on Twitch. So yeah, let's start. No further ado.
Hey,
Let's go. Tell us about yourself before we go though.
super. I'm Alex. I really like making spaceships. You can find my spaceship project at thoriumsim.com, which is also a remix website. Um, and that's a video game that I'm building in React. I work at a company called UI.dev, where we teach people how to be better developers. I made the TypeScript course for them. So if you're interested in learning React, TypeScript, anything like that, check out UI.dev. That's the website and the name of the company. And we've got exciting stuff coming along the pike too. So today, though, we're going to be talking about Remix, which came out just a couple of weeks ago in 1.0 and became open source at the same time, which is awesome. I assume that everybody has a rough idea of what Remix is. If not, check out the docs. They've got a really good explanation of how it's great. And I'm sure that will just keep getting better as time goes on. You can think of it as a framework that is similar in scope to, it's been compared to Rails. Uh, actually, uh, I don't know what Marbiano's, that's your name, right?
Martin.
Marbiano. He wrote Martin, okay. Martin wrote a really great post about how how Remix is similar to Rails recently. So if you look for that, I'm sure you could find it retweeted by the Remix account recently. Really
Yes,
great comparison.
I'll grab that and post it.
So my goal right now is just to speed run through getting Remix set up and getting it deployed as quickly as possible. And then we're going to add the Discord integration. So I'm going to start by grabbing this npx create remix. I'm going to come to my terminal, go into my projects folder and run that. This is a nice little setup for getting Remix running. I'm going to put it in the lunch dev. I'll just call it lunch dev. And I'm going to use the Remix app server. The reason for this is because it's going to create a long running Node.js server, which makes it possible for me to build uh, a bot in the future. Bots aren't really possible with serverless since they have to be listening for message events. And so you need to have a long running server. So you'd want to use Remix app server or an Express starter for that. But then, or Fly. But they also have great serverless support on AWS, Netlify, Vercel, and Cloudflare workers. So we'll use the Remix app server because it's easy. And then I'm going to do it in TypeScript. Sorry if you don't know TypeScript. We won't be doing a ton of stuff with TypeScript, but it really helps me to not screw up. And we're going to run npm install.
Now, just a quick point of clarification. The times that I've
Sure.
gone through some of the documentation in Remix in the past, the documentation is actually written in TypeScript. Is that right?
I can't remember. It's all the same to me.
At least when I
But we
did
could
it, I
go to
think.
some of the documentation here.
Yeah.
There it is. And yeah, it is written in TypeScript.
Okay. Cool.
So,
Cool. Cool.
I mean,
So
the TypeScript just kind of melts away. You won't be worried about it too much. Like this right here, that's TypeScript, but everything else here is JavaScript.
yeah.
So it's not going to be too mind bending.
Cool. Cool.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the lunch dev folder, open up Visual Studio Code, and then close my terminal because that's all I ever use it for. It's just opening Visual Studio Code. And I'll just bump up the size there a bit so everyone can see. How's the size for everyone?
Looks good.
Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is get this deployed ASAP. And I'm going to use a service called Railway. You can think of it as Heroku for hipsters. So I'm going to start, we'll provision Postgres. And that's going to start up a database for me. And in the meantime, let's just start running the dev server. So I'm going to run npm run dev. And that's going to start it up. It's up. I can go localhost 3000. And here it is. That's the basic Remix app. They've got some demos here, but we're not going to worry about those. In fact, they recommend that you just come here and nope, don't want to delete the whole routes folder, just the demos folder.
Oh,
And we'll
nice.
delete that.
That's a good tip.
Yep. So to start off, we're going to need a login page. And we'll also need a log out route. And that should be all that we need for now. So the way that Remix works is you export a default React component. And gosh, I should really get Tailwind installed here too. I've got, by the way, just so everybody knows, I have GitHub Copilot, so it's going to be coding most of this today. So there's the email form, and there's the password form,
That's the big takeaway
and
if you want to learn
there's the submit
Remix.
button. Yeah, just get GitHub Copilot. The great thing about Remix is this right here will work. All I have to do is change the form so that it has a method of post. We want to post our password so that it's actually secure, because if you put the password in the get parameters, that's just silly. And then I also want to export what's called an action. This is the code that runs on the server every single time you perform a post, put, or delete request, or maybe a patch request too. I don't know. Anything but get with those HTTP verbs. So const action as an action function. I'll import that from Remix. That's just some TypeScript magic that makes it so I don't screw up. I'm going to get the request. And then from there, since I'm using a regular HTTP form, I'm going to pull out the URL parameters from that. I can't remember the best way to do this.
Does
So I'm
does
going to do
Copilot?
request dot. No, Copilot doesn't in this case. Thought there was a helper. Form data. There it is. So this gives me some form data. So I'm just going to call this the body. And then from there, const email equals body.get email.
And that's async. The form data is async.
You're right. Thanks, Kent.
We got a Kent C. Dodds in the house.
So that means that this needs to be an async function, and this needs to say await. And just TypeScript tells me that this gives me a form data entry value, which if we dig in here, I'm diving into the TypeScript internals now. That's not good. We'll just ignore that. Anyway, it's going to be a string. We'll need to assert that it's a string, but it's a string. And then body.get password. So that gives me my email and password. And then from there, we can actually start doing stuff with this. So by now, my app called Soggy Hall, which is great, is all set up. So we'll just leave the login route for right now. I'm going to shut down the dev server and run Railway link and then my project ID. And what that's going to do is, oh, hang on. That's not working right. I can't find that project. Maybe I'll just try Railway init and see what that does. Oh, that's why. I need to run Railway login.
Okay, so you have a
open it in the
Railway app
browser.
running in the cloud somewhere. You're logging
I don't have
into
a
that.
Railway app yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm logging into my Railway account right now.
Okay, gotcha.
So now I need to open up this URL, hit verify because it's true. It's just the usual device OAuth flow.
Okay,
And now I'm
cool.
logged in as Alex. So now I should be able to run Railway link, and it's going to link that with my link that. I'm getting an echo now. Can somebody please mute themselves? Okay, so
Okay,
now I
we're
should
good,
be able to come here. And I guess I'm linked.
Yeah, it looks
I've got
like
my Postgres over there. So I'll say Railway up. And this is going to package my app up, send it up to the cloud, and deploy it. And it should be all set. So I'm just going to let that go while we get Postgres set up. So, we need to connect. This is some secret stuff here. So I'm actually going to move this over to a different screen while I set up my environment variables.
Now, this is something that I've that's kind of interesting to me about Remix is that, or I guess specifically like this kind of like development environment where you have kind of like a cloud backend type of stuff, just in general. Like sometimes you have to have some, like you'll oftentimes have to use like their CLI to actually like connect to data. Is that correct? Am I thinking
Sorry,
about this right?
are you talking about Remix or Railway?
Well, like Railway, right? So like Railway is your
Right.
database, and you're
Right.
not running that locally, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And so that's the thing. They give me this database, and they give me just a regular Postgres connection URL, which I can use with any uh, package, any ORM that supports Postgres. So I'll
Okay.
get Prisma set up real quick.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Cool.
and I've actually, so here's this back again. I've actually taken my .env file and put it in a different VS Code window off on my other screen, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, fancy. Look at
So,
you.
um, yeah, I really should have set up. I realize now I should have set up more of this earlier, but that's okay. I don't want to download the starter project. I just want to go. There's the quick start. Oh, that is the quick start. We'll start from add to an existing project.
I'm
Uh-oh.
confident we can figure it out, Alex.
I'm sure we can.
Between the two of us,
Now-
I think we can do it.
Now that you're here, I just feel so much better. Okay. I just needed to change that really quick. Got to install the Prisma client. So I'm going to run npm install Prisma client here. Probably install more stuff later. And then I'm going to run npx Prisma generate, which is going to go to my Prisma database in Railway, grab all of the tables that we have, and set up all of my fancy stuff. The thing is, we don't have any tables yet because I haven't created them. So let's come over here to the data. We're going to create a table. It's going to be called users. Yeah, sure.
You're
And I'm
doing
going
some
to add a
scary
column
stuff right
for.
now, Alex. Databases are always
It's
nerve-wracking
so
for
scary.
me.
I know, right? I just need to remember what needs to be in the database. So I'm actually going to come over here. This is an app called Postico that lets me connect to my thoriumsim.com database.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And I'm going to look at the table that I have there. Oh, shoot. Go away. I shouldn't have done that because I do my own auth. And so you saw a little bit of some password hashes there. Oh, well.
This is
We'll
always a
edit that in
really
post.
funny thing
People
about
can have fun with their rainbow tables on your password hashes.
I know, right?
You're
Oh,
probably
shoot.
fine.
Probably. But that's the thing is we don't actually need to have those columns in our table. I'm just going to have like a display name. That's going to be text. Sorry, text. We'll have a profile picture URL. That's going to be text. And we'll have probably should have email just in case we need it sometime in the future. That's going to be text. And then I'm also going to look at the connected accounts table, which I'm doing some like crazy SQL joining stuff. But oh crap, I'm doing it again. Those are secrets. Don't look at my secrets. What am I thinking? Okay. In order to connect the account, we need to have the access token, which is going to be a text. And we need to have a refresh token, which is also text. These are the OAuth tokens that are provided by Discord. So we're just going to
Okay.
assume that people only log in with Discord. And when they log in, Discord is going to give us an access token, or it'll let us get an access token, which we can use to make requests on behalf of the user to Discord.
Now,
And
if
then
you were to do like a multi-OAuth type of setup, would you just prefix these? So you'd have like Discord access token and Discord refresh token, and then have like maybe like a
No.
GitHub one, etc.
So I can show you this. This is what I should have done to begin with, just showing you the structure, not the contents. So this is the table that I have for any connected accounts. So I have a type field. So I have the user table, and then that connects to this table using this user ID foreign key constraint, which is a SQL feature that allows you to connect two tables together. That's how it becomes relational. The type field is going to be whatever the provider is. So I've got Discord and GitHub that I currently allow. And then the access token and refresh token, which are part of the OAuth spec. Although you don't have to have a refresh token, GitHub allows the access token to last forever, whereas Discord, I think, only lets it last for like an hour, and then you have to use the refresh token to check with Discord to see if that user should still, or to see if that app should still have access. And then I have a created at, expires at, and account ID, which is the ID that Discord uses to store that particular user. So I'm going to say Discord user ID. And then this shouldn't be text. This should be a date. So you could do it the way that you said, where you have Discord access token, refresh access token, and then, sorry, I'm doing weird. We'll do it that way. Weird casing. Casing is the worst.
It is. I wish there was just a universal rule for casing, but there isn't.
I mean, they should just look into my brain and know exactly what these things are. I shouldn't even have to name these things. They should just be like numbers.
You need
totally
Copilot for everywhere on the web.
Right. So we'll create our users table here, and that should be good enough for now. And now that we have that, I can come over here and run npx Prisma generate, hit Y, and it's going to go bloop, 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 bloop. And, oh, I need to create a schema.prisma file.
Hey, Alex, I missed that. Could you say what's it going to go again?
It's going to go bloop, 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 bloop. It didn't go bloop, 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 bloop.
I only heard your bloop, 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 bloop. Is that, should I be looking for that when I run that command in my terminal?
Okay. I'm going to go back over to my cheat sheet and look at the schema.prisma file that I have there.
Eric has a fish emoji in chat, which feels very appropriate. Blub, 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 blub.
Alex, I think if you run your npx Prisma init, that'll scaffold out the folder and the schema for you. And then you can run your db poll.
See, that's why we have helpful people here. So, yep, this is exactly what we need. And now I can run npx Prisma generate, which is going to do some stuff. I don't have any models. Oh,
I think you have to run db poll first. So Prisma db poll, and then you should be good to go.
All right.
I just have.
For those of us who are new to Prisma in general, so the first command is creating a what for us when we did the Prisma generate.
Okay, so it creates the schema.prisma file, which just scaffolds out this schema.prisma file. Sorry. So we've got the generator, which tells me what provider I'm going to be using. In this case, it's Prisma client.js. But they also have, I think, a Python provider. I mean, this allows them to use the same Prisma command to generate code for any environment. Okay. Down here, I'm specifying my data source. In this case, it's a Postgres database, and the URL, the connection URL is in this environment variable that you're not going to see because I'm a good developer. I keep my secrets safe. Actually, true story, I'm going to go through and delete all of the connected accounts because that right there is actually a real vulnerability. In fact, I'm going to just do it now. We'll just come over here and force all of these people to sign in again. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they have some other way to sign in.
They may be getting an email today. There was a breach. I was live streaming.
Exactly. Well, and it's only like, let's see, 2 of these are my test accounts, and yeah, so nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Still embarrassing. Okay, so now that that's taken care of, I can run that npx Prisma db poll. What this is going to do is use the database URL that I set up here, go out to Railway's database. I could do the same thing on a local Postgres database, but I like living on the edge, as you can already tell. And what that did is it pulled down the schema for my user's database here and has all of the information that it needs to know how to generate the TypeScript types for that. So now I can run npx Prisma generate like that. And what it did is it created a code in, we'll do node modules. Come on, at Prisma. That is not what I wanted. Sorry, I'm using Fig as well because I like living on the edge. And it's just not working right now, guys.
Just too much edge.
I'm pretty sure somewhere in here, is where it generated. Yeah, this is all generated by that Prisma generate command. And I'm sure if we dig in enough, we can find that the user stuff. I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know that it shoves it into the node modules folder.
Wow, this is wild.
Okay, let me just check messages
All
really
right, so we
quick. I'm
created a
not seeing it.
database. We
Yep.
we're using Prisma to like pull the schema of that database, and then we
Yep.
generated that monster of a client for ourselves. Is that right?
Right. And
Okay.
now I can import. Actually, let me just make sure I'm doing this right. db dot.
And so now effectively our app is aware of the database schema, like through
Yeah.
those types.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And
Okay.
I'm going to demonstrate that in just a second. I just have to find. Okay, so what I did in my other app is I created a helpers slash db.ts, or no, I said prisma.server.ts. The .server.ts extension makes it so that Remix is never going to bundle this in the client. It's only ever going to bundle it on the server. And so now I can just import db here and use it anywhere in my app. So here in my login, I can say await db dot users dot, and then I can create a user. I can create many, delete, whatever. Okay.
Dang, look at this.
Yeah. So we actually don't need a password in this case. I had Copilot do all of this stuff for me, but that was probably more of a flex than anything because we're just going to log in with Discord. It was an unintentional flex, I promise.
You're just
Sorry to everybody.
carried away by GitHub Copilot. I'm honestly,
Oh.
I'm honestly curious, like how much code is going to go down that route of like, actually, I was just carried away by the Copilot. I didn't even need this feature, but Copilot did
For
it.
real.
I
Absolutely.
have done exactly that before. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just installing React icons right now so we can make this just a little bit nicer. And I'm just gonna do some copy pasta because I'm a lazy cuss. Um, so I'm gonna create a components folder and I'm gonna paste in this sign in button. So this is a button that I made for my other site that just takes care of some things for me. I pass it a provider, which is going to be either Discord or just Discord. A title, which is what it puts into the button, class name so we can style it nicely, and an icon that shows up nicely. And it is going to use GitHub Forms to, not GitHub, Remix Forms to perform this action. And it's going to make that action against this route, which we're going to set up soon. But the idea is you click this button, it's going to redirect the user, or it's going to perform a post request to this route. This route is going to take care of all of the auth communication stuff with Discord, which we'll set up next. And while that's happening, it's going to use this use transition hook, which is part of Remix that lets you know whether a form has been submitted or whether the user is navigating to a different page. And in this case, what I'm doing is if we are in the middle of performing some action and or some if we've submitted a form on the page and that form has been submitted to this URL, which is the URL that it's being submitted to, then we're going to show the spinner. And otherwise, we're going to show the sign in text. So that gives us just a little bit of loading state there.
Okay, so
Should
just to be
probably also
clear,
make it.
this use transition is not the React use transition that's coming out in React 18 soon.
Yeah, this is part of Remix.
Okay,
and
got it.
You can use it today. Woohoo!
So this transitions between the states of the form kind of as you get that data then?
Yes.
Okay.
In
okay.
this case, it's just whether it's loading or whether it's not loading.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what we're getting here. So we're
Okay.
going to say the provider is Discord, and the title is going to be Discord. Icon is going to be FA Discord. I can't remember if that's supposed to be. It's just a React node, so that means I need to make this like that. And then we also need a class name, which I'll just leave blank for now. because I don't have Tailwind installed yet, which is really sad. And we don't need these guys either. In fact,
Are
we
you
don't
missing
even
it
need
right
this
now?
action. Super missing it. Don't need that. Okay. Because all of that other stuff is going to happen inside of our other route that I'm going to change right now. Just going to make this API/connect account and then down here API because I was doing something weird before and now I'm not doing something weird. Okay. So now I should be able to run the app. I'm going to run npm run dev. That'll start it up. Come back over here.
Now, which starter did you use again? Was it the Netlify starter?
No, I used the Remix Dev Server
Okay.
starter, which is built on top of Express. And again, the reason I did that is so that we can add a Discord bot in the future, which you can't do with serverless.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. That makes a lot of sense.
But if I go to the login route, we've got this very ugly sign in with Discord button. And when I click that, it's going to try and take me to this API/connect account page, but it's not going to show me that because it doesn't exist. The Remix folks in the audience really want me to point out that, oh, look, this error boundary is so cool and it's amazing how it works. Go watch Kent's stream or Ryan's stream with Jason. They talk about that in much greater detail.
Kent, do you have a best link for that? Do you mind posting that
Yeah,
in?
throw that in the Discord.
Yeah, I'll find a good link for that. Whenever we show this for the first time for anybody, we like go nuts over how awesome it is that you have contextual error boundaries. I think probably the homepage, you scroll down toward the bottom,
Yeah.
that explains it pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a really cool feature. It's just not important to me right now.
We got things to do. We got APIs to connect.
For reals. And yeah, this is not going the way that I expected it to go, but like we're still having fun,
I
right?
feel like that's every lunch stream is not where we expected to go, but we went somewhere.
Okay. So I'm using this really slick. I'm going to close the terminal because I don't think we need it anymore. I don't think we need any more dependencies. I'm using this really slick feature of Remix called resource routes, which is basically the same as Next.js API routes, except you can respond with any type of data that you want. In this case, I'm not responding with any data. I'm just redirecting you to a specific URL. So let's walk through this code that I just copy pasted because I am a lazy cuss. Oh, I need to put in this app URL here. So let me open that in my .env and add that environment variable. It's just going to be http://localhost:3000 since we're in development. But when I deploy this to production, I need to make sure that I put that in the environment variables. We also need to add in a cookie secret, which is what I'm using to create an OAuth token, basically. The idea is I create this hash that only my app knows, and I use that to make sure that these requests coming and going from Discord are actually coming from my site and not some other site that's trying to steal my users' data.
Mm.
So that's just a security thing. The cookie secret is just a long string. You can hear me typing in. This is like very high entropy right now. I don't know if you can hear all the clicking, but we'll check it really quick. You just open up Node and say that string.length. Oh, it's 149 characters, my friends. That is security right there. You just have to take my word for it. The last environment variable that we need is this Discord client ID. So let's come back over here and come to this Discord developer portal. I've already created an app for lunch.dev in the Discord developer place. And what I need to do is put in the client ID that is right here for this app that I've created. This is what I'm going to send to Discord to identify my app so they know who is trying to ask for access to Discord users. In the chat, I'm just going to pop a URL, oauth.com. That's it. all of this little rigmarole that we're doing with Discord is part of a spec called OAuth that um it's barely a specification, but it's more of a set of guidelines than rules, where basically you're able to communicate with third-party providers and get access to information on their sites on behalf of their users, which is exactly what we want to do.
Now, to
So I've
clarify
got
real
that
quick,
client ID. Yep.
sometimes an app will offer a personal access token. And I think that when I was originally thinking about this, I was thinking like, oh, I could just grab my personal access token, do this thing, and like, we'll just use my personal access token. But that's not really like a great way to build services like this. And so the bot is basically a way for like it's like an additional party in this whole thing that's like, okay, I'm going to control the like you have to like authenticate as a person through this bot instead of just like throwing your personal access token in there. Is that right?
Bingo.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yep. And Discord doesn't even offer personal access tokens. Excuse me, personal access tokens in the way that GitHub does.
Okay,
Sorry, did I say GitHub the first time? Discord doesn't offer personal access tokens. GitHub does. And I actually
gotcha.
do use a personal access token on my thoriumsim.com website to do some administrative stuff. But you're right. It's much better to do that with something like OAuth,
Okay, cool, cool.
especially when it's random people like you and everybody else who's logging on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
we've got our client ID here. And then the way that this works is I send a message to, or rather, I redirect the user to this URL right here, which Discord provides to authorize OAuth 2 connections. And we'll see what that looks like in just a minute. And I'm adding on some params, which I'm generating here, that include the client ID, identifying my app, the LunchDev app,
Hmm.
a redirect URL, which is where Discord is going to redirect the browser after the authorization has been successful. I also passed in a scope, which is all of the different permissions that I'm asking for as part of this OAuth rigmarole.
And
And
that's
we
just
can
a
see
space
those in this URL
delimited
generator.
string.
It is a space delimited, yes,
Okay, cool.
that thing.
That thing.
I think other OAuth specifications do it differently with commas and such.
Okay.
Again, it's more guidelines than a rule. But these are all the different permissions that you can get, and you can look in the documentation on Discord to see what each of these does. I actually don't need all of these.
One thing
I think I'm going to.
one thing to call out real quick if you're not familiar with kind of Discord's internal tournament for things, what you and I might call a Discord server, a set of channels with a collect group of members. Discord internally, API wise, calls a guild. So anytime you see a
Yep,
guild, think Discord server.
yep.
Thanks for the
So I'm actually going
clarification.
to delete messages read. I'm going to ask for identify, which tells me who you are. It gives me your profile picture and your name. Email is a separate thing that you need to ask for. I'm going to ask for guilds so I know which guilds the person is a part of. And I'm going to ask for the guilds.join permission. So the idea is when they click this button, I should have permission to add them to a guild. And in this case, I just add them to the lunch.dev guild or lunch.dev guild, whatever. Sorry, I work for UI.dev. And so having that dot in there is, you get used to it. Anyway, we've got this state thing here, which we created up above. That's just going to generate a random string that I can use to identify folks. And I'm passing that here. And then I've got the response type code, which is part of the OAuth spec saying, I want to get an access code for this user when you redirect them back to this OAuth Discord place. Okay. So with that in place, and with our sign in button pointing to API/connect account, I should now be able to come here, go to the login page. Hang on. I was doing this and it returns null. Oh, because I'm not okay. It's because I did it with a post request because I'm using an action here. I could even make it more explicit by saying if request.method equals post, but I'm not going to do that because it'll only ever be post, right? So I'm going to click sign in with Discord again, and we are now on Discord's URL. I don't know if you can see that there, but it
Okay,
says
yep.
discord.com, blah, blah, blah. And I'm getting an error. It says value blank is not a snowflake.
I'm glad you got this error because that's a great error.
No, and I know the reason why. Snowflake is actually a term for a very specially formed unique ID. I think Twitter invented the concept of snowflakes. So it's not like talking about millennials and Gen Z that can't handle being woke or whatever. No, this is an actual technical term. The reason why is because I changed my environment variables without resetting the server. So now I can come back here. We'll go back here, click the button, and it still is complaining because the redirect URI is undefined and the client ID is empty. Why is that? Very, very confusing. Let's go to the docs.
Yes, and I just
Remix conveniently has this search. And we're going to look at server environment variables. And aha, they do not have .env for you already. Does npm add actually work? Let's try it. Whoa, it's like Yarn except npm. Wow.
What? When did
Yep.
that happen? I did not know that that was a thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Today I learned. So I'm going to go to my package.json like it says in the docs. Everybody read the docs. It's important. I'm going to come here to the dev script and I'm going to paste that in. And now I should be able to run npm run dev. It's going to execute. So node-r just runs a little script before it actually runs my node program. It's running .env.config that's going to go to this .env file that you're not going to look at because I'm a good developer that don't show my secrets. And once it loads that, it's going to run the remix dev command. And by doing that, it's going to put the environment variables in .env into my environment. So now when I come here, go back, hit this button, it actually takes me to the Discord page.
What?
Okay. So now it's asking me to sign in. And Discord is so great because they've got this app where I'm already signed in. And so if I have the app on my phone, I can hit scan QR code. And then after I scan it, it shows, hey, that's me. And on my phone, it says, are you sure you want to log in on this computer? I says, yes, log me in. And then it logs me in like instantly. It's so cool. I love it. Okay.
Whoa.
This right here is the OAuth authorization screen. This is where it says this person wants to access your account. Or sorry, this app wants to access your account, speaking to me, Alex. And it tells me all of the things that it's going to be allowed to do. So I get the username, avatar, and banner, email address. I know what servers are in, and it can join servers. It's not going to be able to solve the mystery with Scooby and the gang. Bummer, dude. Oh, well. I click the authorize button, and what this is going to do is redirect my browser back to my app, to localhost 3000, with a specific URL with some special magic voodoo that we'll look at in just a second. So it's not found because we haven't created the OAuth Discord page yet, but we do have this code here, which is the code that I asked for. Remember back here? Sorry. Back here when we said response type code? This is the code that I wanted. Oh, and that state thing that we generated earlier, that's here too. So we can verify that this state actually was signed by my app using crypto up here to make sure that it was my app who requested this user sign in and not some fake hacker app. Okay.
Cool.
So now that we've done that, I'm pausing for just a second to copy and paste stuff and people can talk in the meantime, ask questions and whatnot.
Now, so the screen that we saw with the permissions, those are all set by this scope right here. So if we were requesting more permissions, we would see more of those green check marks.
Exactly. You could request all the permissions if you really wanted to.
Can we request Scooby-Doo, or that's just...
No, that's just Discord being their delightful selves. Okay, so just for convenience, because I don't know what I'm doing and it's easier to just copy and paste, I'm npm installing Discord.js and Discord.js REST, which should be nice little helpers for me. I also have some other stuff here for authenticating the user and creating a session. So the idea is you don't want your users to have to sign in every single time they come to the app. You want to give them the ability to stay signed in for an extended period of time. And that's what sessions do for us. So this is the idea of a session in abstract is something that's been around forever. PHP has it, Rails has it, I'm sure. Um, Remix has it, and they have some nice little helpers for helping you with that. So I'm just going to do some more copy pasting, and we'll take a look at it together. But I don't want to have to write all this code myself or have Copilot do it because I am not cruel to bots. Oh, and I've got to actually copy that.
Okay, so
Okay.
where was this created?
I created it in a folder called Auth because
Okay.
this is where I'm just handling all of the Authy stuff. You could put it anywhere you want. In
Okay.
Remix, the only special folder inside the app folder is routes.
Gotcha. Okay. So this isn't
Everything else you can do whatever you want.
gotcha. So this isn't a route. So this is
Nope.
this is what I'm learning right now. So Remix is controlling all of this stuff, but this isn't a route, so it's not going to have a page, but it is going to have access to all of the like remixy internals.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a utility exported by Remix that I can use to do
Okay.
stuff.
Cool.
And again, look at the docs for more information about sessions specifically. In this case, I'm using their cookie session storage, which creates a session on a cookie. I don't know exactly the mechanism, whether it's like a JWT or something, but the idea is if I have access to this cookie, then I can recognize that this user is who they say they are. Like if this user gives me this cookie, then I can be fairly confident that they are who they say they are.
Cool.
So I'm naming the cookie underscore session. I'm using same site lax, which um, does something about cross origin cookies. I'm not going to get into that too much. Path slash makes it so I can use it anywhere in the site. It's sent for every page that they visit. HTTP only makes it so you can't access this from within JavaScript, which is a security feature because if you could access it from within JavaScript and you had a cross-site scripting error of some kind, people could try and get these cookies, and this makes it so they can't from JavaScript.
Okay.
This secret makes it so that it signs the cookie so that I know that the cookie was actually created by me so people can't create fake. And remember, the cookie secret is 149 characters long. So it's secure in production, which means it's only sent over HTTPS connections. And the max age is how long the cookie actually lasts. In this case, it's in seconds. So 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes is an hour, 24 hours is a day, 30 days is a month.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that helps. I imagine that helps. Like doing the numbers this way helps contextualize them versus just having whatever the sum or the result of all of those multiplications is.
Exactly. It's just a little thing that I do. So this session storage that we create here gives us just 3 little utilities. Yeah, gives us just 3 utilities. Get session, which gets us the session from a cookie. Commit session, which lets us save the session to a cookie. And destroy session, which destroys the cookie. Cookie Monster is sad, but what you got to do sometimes. So now that we have that in place, we can create the Authenticator. And for that, I'm going to use another utility called Remix Auth, which is a whole bunch of different auth things. It gives you a bunch of different ways of signing in. In fact, let's look at the docs for Remix Auth just for fun to see what they offer. Sergio, I think he's a Peruvian developer and just has so many amazing things that he's created for the Remix ecosystem. Is Sergio here? I don't know that I saw Sergio anywhere.
I don't think I saw them.
Okay. Anyway, but the idea is you create a session storage, you set up Remix Auth. It's very similar to Passport.js, but it works across all of the different platforms that Remix supports, including Cloudflare Workers, which is not a node environment. Martin just said that Sergio lives in Peru, but he's from Argentina. So anyway,
Gotcha. Cool.
Sergio's awesome. So what we do is we grab an authenticator from Remix Auth. That's a class that you can use. And you also use a strategy, which is a different way of signing in. And then, do I actually need this? Let me check and see if I actually need this, or if I can just plop stuff onto the user. Yeah, so I only use this for checking to see if somebody is actually logged in. So I don't actually need this. But Remix Auth is pretty sweet. Just saying. Just for fun, let's go into the strategies folder. It's easy to make your own strategy, but they already have one for OAuth 2, so I probably could have saved myself a lot of hassle. Local, which is like username and password, Google, GitHub, basic HTTP, Shopify, Auth0. So save yourself a lot of time by doing it that way. Um, and I'm just going to find, here, I'm going to run npm run dev again, and then close this so that we have a little bit more room. And all that we have to do is just change the session key. So I'm just going to make it a, oh,
So with Remix Auth, you kind of set this up like once, but then you could, it seems like you could pretty easily add additional providers once you've gone through this setup.
right. We're not using Remix Auth right now, just
Okay,
to be
gotcha.
clear. But yes, you can use multiple providers at the same time, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You just, when you do the login process, you say which provider you want to use. So you could say, oh, we're logging in with a username and password right now. Or, oh, we're logging in with GitHub right now.
Makes
And it'll
sense.
use the appropriate strategy for what you ask.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's go through this. Notice that this is a, hang on, I got to check one thing first. Oh, I'm doing janky stuff. Go away. Okay. This is a loader, which means it's going to run for every GET request. Okay. And what we're doing is pulling out URL search params, but I don't actually, no, I do need that, because what we're doing is getting the error and error description, which come from Discord if something bad happens, and the error URI. So that's how Discord tells me that there was a problem. I'm getting the state, which is the same value I passed earlier in connect accounts. I'm getting the code, and then type is something extra that I added for my site that I copied from, but we don't need that. And we're just parsing that out of the URL parameters. I'm turning it into JSON, and we don't need this rest either. Next, we pull our session out by grabbing the cookie from the headers. And then I check to see if there's an error. And if there was no code provided, I throw errors in both of those cases. Then I regenerate the state using the same method that I used before. And if the state is not what I expected, then I just say that the state was unexpected. That means a hacker tried to do something evil. Okay. I have this switch on the type for doing GitHub versus Discord. I'm just going to get rid of GitHub because we're not worried about that right now. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom and make sure that all of that is cleared out too. Okay. Then, so we've got the code. The next part of the OAuth process is going to Discord and taking that code and exchanging it for an access token and a refresh token. I do that by making a post request to this Discord API using XWWW form URL encoded. Woohoo. And I just hard code the URL in here, but we can see we pass it the authorization. So I say the grant type is authorization code because I want to get an authorization code. So that's what I'm passing in. Yeah. And then I pass in the code. I also have to pass in the redirect URI, which I used earlier, which I need to fix because this is now OAuth/Discord. That. I pass in my client ID, and I also have to pass in the client secret. This is the way that I uh, tell Discord that I'm actually the person in charge of this app. So I'm going to have to grab that as well from over here. Oh, it's still in the OAuth section, and I can just click copy, and you'll never see it. Ha ha ha! Because I'm a good developer.
Now, this is something that you're not going to want to commit to the code base, right? So you're going to put this in some type of like
Bingo.
private environment variable.
Oh, watch this. Git ignore already does not have .env ignored. So, um, when I run Railway up, it ignores everything that is ignored by git ignore,
Okay.
and so it's not going to upload these .env stuff to
Okay.
Railway,
Cool.
even though I'm gonna tell Railway the same stuff anyway.
Okay.
So that's taken care of. Um, Discord sends back the access token, the refresh token, and the expires in values. Oh, it looks like I need to install another module because I am lazily importing it. So that, and then npm run dev again, and hide this. Oh, except, uh, I've got to change my module flag. That's a TypeScript thing. So I've got to come here and actually add a module flag. Oops. Module, thank you. And I'm going to use CommonJS. The reason for that is because the Remix server uses CommonJS. They don't support ESM quite yet, but they're working on it.
Okay.
And besides, this no emit thing here means that TypeScript isn't even going to worry about compiling my code anyway. It's just doing the type checking. So this doesn't affect the output bundle since Remix bundles my code for me. Okay,
Gotcha.
so this right here is just a helper that helps me generate REST APIs for Discord. You could write the REST APIs out yourself. In fact, if I were to console log Discord REST, actually, no. Yes, if I were to console out the results of this right here, it would just give me a URL. Nope, it wouldn't. Nope, these are two different things. Okay, if I were to console.log this, it would just give me a URL.
Okay.
Discord REST is the REST API SDK that Discord provides. Or no, I think this is a third-party thing. But the idea is I give it the version of the Discord API that I want to use. I set my access token up here, and it gives me a little class that I can use to make API calls. So in this case, I use this to make a GET request to OAuth 2 current authorization, and that gives me the current user who is signed in to Discord. I also have to make another request to the user's route to get just a little bit more information. I'm using some TypeScript stuff to just specify what the results of these are. If I wanted to be more safe with TypeScript, I would do some type narrowing to make sure that these were actually the objects that I say they are. But I'm a lazy Cust developer, and I know that it's going to be that way because Discord doesn't break promises. Okay.
And you actually have a course on TypeScript if someone wanted to learn about type narrowing, right?
I do. Wow. Michael's here, my straight man. Yeah, on UI.dev. I wrote the course on TypeScript just for UI.dev, not for everything. But people tell me that it's a good course, so nobody's told me it's not a good course. Like, with that evidence, it has to be good, right? No, I really enjoyed making it. I learned a lot from making it, and I think you'll learn a lot from taking it too. So at this point, we've got all of the information we need. We can finally create our user object. So I'm going to say all of this stuff is just extra now, but I'm going to say db, or I'm going to say await db.users.create, and then I have to put in all of the information that I want to create in this data field. So we've got the access token, which is access token, fresh token, Discord user ID, which is going to be discord.user.id. Super. We've got the display name, which is going to be more Discord user.username. Email, which is more Discord user.email. And then we need the expires at too. I'll move that up here so that it's with the other token stuff. And that's going to be that. Expires at, expires in. Come on, guys. Profile picture URL. I think that comes from, yeah, discord user.user.avatar. And then the ID is auto-generated. Okay. So far, so good. Any questions?
Coding with Copilot. I love this.
So this is going to create the user, shove it into the database. So we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that and that. And all of that. Awesome. And we can get rid of that. Great. Actually, I do want to pull out a couple of objects. So if you are relatively new to JavaScript, here's a fun tip. If you want to just pull out a couple of properties and not have them included in an object, you can say const the properties you want to exclude, like the access token, the refresh token. Ooh, sorry, guys. And expires at actually isn't important, so we're not going to include it. And then use a rest to get the rest. That gives me, we hover over this, you can see it gives me the ID, the display name, the profile picture URL, the email, and the Discord user ID. I don't know why those aren't cased the way that I wrote them. Oh, I know why. It's because Prisma expects me to use not camel casing, snake casing. I
Oh,
should have used
interesting.
snake casing the whole time.
So was that
Ugh.
so is Prisma changing that from your database schema?
It's pulling that from the database schema.
Okay.
And yeah, because if I recall correctly, I could be wrong about this, don't quote me, but it's possible that Postgres column names are case insensitive. And so
Okay.
Prisma just lowers all of them.
Gotcha. So you had in the UI, you had used the camel casing, but Prisma is like with its knowledge of how Postgres works, just to lowering all the names.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got
I'm not sure about that. On my
well,
website, I use camel
hang on a
casing
second.
for everything.
Yeah. We're not going to dig into that right now because I got 2 minutes left and I really want to make this work.
Okay,
So
yeah.
really quick, I'm doing some extra stuff with Discord REST to add the user to a specific guild, in this case, the Thorium Sim Discord guild, which hit me up if you want to join the Thorium Sim Discord guild or go to thoriumsim.com. And then this right here gives the user a specific role. So hang on. Am I Oh, hang on. I'm trying to move Discord over here. Am I so privileged that I am able to create new roles? No, dang it. Okay.
Oh,
If I could create a new role,
I thought you could.
then
I'm
I
sorry.
totally would. No, I can't. Um,
Do you
but
want
here's
do you want me
here's
to
what
make one real quick?
no,
Okay.
I think because I would have to figure out the role ID and stuff, and we
Okay.
don't have time
Okay.
for
Okay.
that. So I'm just going to uncomment these. And then here at the bottom, I'm using this session.flash thing, which allows me to add a message to the session, which only lasts for one read. So as soon as you read it, it gets removed from the session, which
Okay,
is
cool.
great. Okay. Then at the end of all of this, I'm being redirected to the profile page, which doesn't exist. So I'm just going to redirect to the home page, and it uses the set cookie header to commit the session, which puts the user that I created onto the session with this specific session key. I'm going to
Okay.
actually change this. This is the user session key. So that's the whole process altogether. And we will know that it works if we get a user put into the database. So
Okay.
ready?
So we'll see a user put into the database and we'll get redirected to the root route.
So this table is empty.
Yep.
Here's my local host. I'm going to go to /login. Here's my ugly button. I'm going to click my ugly button. It takes me here with all of those scopes that I specified. I hit authorize. It redirects me back. Okay. And then I refresh the page. And the table is empty because something
Oh
bad happened. So
no. Is
let's
it
take a quick
our
look here.
camel casing?
No, it is an unexpected value, 604800. Aha. I said expires at, expires in. That's the problem. Expires in is an interval, but expires at is a date. So I'm going to say date
Interesting.
dot now uh plus actually
Plus.
it not new date. plus expires in, I forget if it's seconds or milliseconds though. So it probably is seconds. So I need to multiply this by 1,000.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay. Okay. Yep.
And now it's complaining because it needs to be a date. Perfect. There, that'll take care of it. So with that, we're rebuilt. We can come back here, go to /login, click the sign in with Discord button, click the authorize button. We come back here. There's nothing changed. Click the refresh button, and there I am. Look at me.
Hey!
Yeah. So, at this point, we are overtime. So anybody who wants to continue partying can continue partying, because I am going to party.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
going
Cool.
to do some shenanigans. Oh, do you want to sign off, Michael,
Yeah,
or do
no,
you
I
want me
think
to
that's
just keep going?
great. So we'll call it quits on the stream to Twitch, and then once we're done streaming, that'll give us an opportunity in Discord for anyone who has questions but doesn't want to ask them on stream to ask them. So that's how we'll do that. Just a quick recap, though. In this hour, what we were able to do was generate a remix app, kind of set up a database on Railway. Integrate Prisma for interacting with that database, and then getting all of this really cool autocomplete and
Yep.
type checking into our Remix app. And then we were able to use loaders and forms to actually handle the requests, the form, as we clicking that button. It's going to do the Oauth dance and whatnot. We used Remix Auth. Did we actually integrate that?
No, we didn't.
Okay,
I
so
said
we
I
didn't.
might need to, and then I didn't.
Okay, cool. So you handle all the auth on your own, and then we were able to use the Discord API to actually access the fields that we need from that, and actually put an access token in the database. Did I miss anything?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry we didn't actually get to doing fancy Discord integrations, but I am going to be able to show you my Discord username and profile picture in just a second.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see that, because that's once we get there. I mean, the rest is just kind of accessing the API and pulling off the stuff we need.
Exactly. So remember, I put my user onto the session using this user session key as the key. So the session is a key value store. This is the key. The value is the user object. So I should be able to, I'm doing this in loader in the root.tsx file, which is the root route. So this is the most fundamental route in all of Remix. It's comparable to the underscore app or underscore document files in Next. It's run for every, or it is what loads every other page in every other route in Remix. So if I console.log user, and then I'm just going to return that. Oh, you can see it here. It reloaded the page automatically, and it pulled out my display name, my profile picture URL, which is obviously not a URL. Really, Alex. You can fix that really quick by just logging out and logging back in, except I need to implement logout first. No, I don't need to. Just kidding. Let's see. Avatar URL. Nope, that's not right. I guess that is a...
Maybe it's a path, and you need, or maybe that's the name of the file or something like that.
Let's find out what happens. So I'm just going to go to login again, do that rigmarole. Ugly button, authorize, and it's not a function. Okay. Let me just take a quick peek at my notes and see how I did it in my other site. This will take but a moment. I don't actually get the avatar off of Discord, which is a real bummer. So we will just not.
Just not for now.
But I'll show you my display name. Yeah. So we can see the display name showing up right here, my email address, my Discord user ID, which I can use to access the API. So here in the root route, I'm just going to return the user. And then a lot of people are like, oh, Remix is this fancy, weird thing. Wah. And it is a fancy, weird thing, certainly, but it also is React. So I'm going to create a context here, call it user. Actually, I'm going to make it TSX. And sorry, I'm trying to go really fast. I'll explain what I'm doing in a minute.
So we're creating a React context for a user. It's null by default. And then we're setting an interface for it, which has all of the, what is it? So the ID, display name, email, and then you're setting up all the types for those based on what
Exactly.
data they hold.
Um,
And so then we're going to export that context so people can, just
okay.
the provider.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm a huge fan of. Actually, yeah, I will say user. I'm a huge fan of the pattern where you don't export the context directly. You just export um, the provide
Sure.
the provider for the context and a
Yep.
hook to access it.
Okay. Yep.
So there's GitHub Copilot coming in clutch, giving me all that stuff. I've got to import. In fact, I'm not even going to import React. I'm just going to import create context and this React node type there. And then I also need to export my use user, just like that. That's not right. And actually what I need to do is const user context equals use context, user context like that. If this is null, then I'm going to throw an error because we want to make sure this is only called from within the user provider, and we probably will never not call it from within that provider because I'm going to put that provider right here in my root. So this is where we're exporting default. I'm going to put my user provider here. It needs the user to be passed in, which we're going to get from our loader in just a second. So I'm just going to put user here. Wrap that around layout. Did you not get imported, friend?
You have children without an R.
Ooh. Oop. Other
That
way.
is
Yep.
correct.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Spirit.
typo catch. Yeah, for sure. So now I need to get the user, and I'm going to use loader data, which is a hook provided by Remix that gives me whatever data was returned from this loader. Awesome. That's now provided in my provider. So I know that it's like totally in the same file because my layout is just down a little bit, but I'm going to put stuff here using that use user. Wait, sorry. Use user hook, just like that. And then I can come down here and just plop it wherever I want. So I'll put it here. I'm going to say user dot display name. And there it is. It's me. And not an
Hey,
emoji because something's broken. But
that
so
is awesome. It's very satisfying to see that all come together. And then also, especially like, so I've done this with, kind of like pre-baked solutions. We talked about maybe doing this with something like, what's the hotness right now? The meme
Cuba base.
hotness? Supabase. Yeah. We talked about doing it with this. But how that is really kind of like a client driven type of like connection. And so it's really
It
cool to
is.
see you do this with a node server and kind of have that full auth cycle. Super neat.
Yeah. The awesome thing about it is the fact that I can come up here, disable JavaScript, and go to the login page. Well, first I can reload the page. Everything still works. I
Hmm.
can go to the login page. Everything still works. Okay. It still took me to Discord, although for some reason it's.
Oh, this page probably requires JavaScript.
Oh, you're right. Discord requires JavaScript, but my site doesn't require JavaScript. And the cool thing about that is if it for some reason takes a while for JavaScript to load, let's do that. Let's come back here. We'll keep JavaScript on. Oh, it's easier to do this from Chrome. So we'll do it from Chrome. Huh? That's weird. That's real weird.
Maybe you have some JavaScript cached or something. Do a hard refresh on that.
I thought I did do a hard refresh. Yeah,
Huh.
I'm doing a hard refresh. That's
That's
super
weird.
weird.
Interesting.
Well, it's saying internal server error. There's probably logs.
Okay, yeah, good point. Oh, there it is. User provider not found.
Hmm.
That's really weird because I put it right here.
Maybe try and restart the server. Do a turn it off
Nope.
and on again.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Good old faithful.
It's the catch boundary that's causing the problem.
Hmm.
I need to
Oh,
put my
so
user provider in the layout.
yeah. So this error is actually hiding the actual error. So there's some error that's happening, and then we get a new error because of the provider.
Can I use loader data in document?
I don't think so. I can't.
No, I
feel
totally
like
can,
maybe.
Kent, I can, because if I can use it in app and app renders document, I can use it in document.
Okay, yeah. Well,
apparently not though.
well, no, there's a different error. Well, maybe not.
You defined a loader for route, but you didn't return anything from your loader function. Oh, okay. It's because user is undefined. That's the actual error. So I would have to go in and figure out how to make it so that the errors actually work with what I'm doing. But
Yeah,
now
what I
that error,
normally do is I always return an object with properties rather than
right,
yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
which is a good strategy, certainly. So I'm just gonna slow down my network.
So no matter if you have an actual user object or not, like, so you would make kind of like a null user or like a guest user type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, I would just say user is null. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
As a property on, I call it my loader data. That's the type name is loader data.
Gotcha.
Okay, I don't know if you noticed that, but I'm just gonna refresh this. Actually, I need to go home first. Oh, slow guys. Okay, and then I'm gonna hit login. And then as soon as it loads, I'm gonna click the ugly button. Notice it doesn't show the pending spinner state, which you have to have JavaScript for. That is progressive enhancement at play. But it still redirects me because HTTP still works. Browser still works.
Awesome.
Lindsay Wardell asked, what is Remix using for bundling? They are using ESBuild, and they don't want to let you manipulate the config because they want to have the ability to change bundlers in the future.
Mm.
I will give a hot and spicy take. I think that is a limitation that is going to go away in the future because enough people ask for it. But I will let the Remix team decide that for themselves. But they heard me say it. I have opinions.
Wait, sorry. So you were talking about how great it is that you don't have to wait for the JavaScript to load before you can navigate. But then you started talking about customizing the bundler. Why do you want to customize the bundler?
Lindsay Wardell asked a question in Discord.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that wasn't
she wants
related.
to use Vue with Remix.
There I see it now. Yeah.
Sorry for that strange context shift.
So Vue will be supported eventually. That's definitely a plan.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well, we've tweeted about it, so
Okay.
yeah, and Svelte as well. Like pretty much, the thing is that Remix is like 80% not React, and so we just need to fill in the 20% for other frameworks. You won't need to customize the bundler for that.
Cool.
Sure thing.
Nice.
Good question, Lindsay. Were there any other questions that people wanted to ask me or Kent, who is the he has a job title, but he works for Remix and he knows things.
Let's do this. We're gonna stop streaming and then to Twitch,
Okay.
and then that'll give people an opportunity to kind of freely use their mic and their video. So let's do that. Alex, thanks so much. I'm gonna turn Twitch off, and then we can kind of carry the conversation on in a little bit more high fidelity in Discord. So if you're in Discord, stick around. If you're on Twitch, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you around next time. Bye.